Let's take you back live to Nelson Mandela Municipality, where the president, together with other government officials, are on the ground and they're looking at issues there like the water crisis. We understand currently he's just started a few minutes ago addressing the local community. Let's listen.
Full of plastics, and the city as well needs to be cleaned up. And I'm hoping that today we've planted a seed that people will start cleaning the city. It is quite easy and straightforward if we all work together in unison. Select a day, maybe in the week or the month, where we can clean up not only this city, but our country as well. We've been calling for a clean-up campaign, and I'd like to say that this should be seen as the beginning of a massive clean-up campaign in our country, where we'll clean our towns, our cities, our metros, and our rural areas, so that they can be the places that Nelson Mandela can also be proud of. So it's been a wonderful day. We started off at the waterworks, where we saw how the National Department of Water and Sanitation and the provincial government and the metro are working together to address the water challenge and crisis that persists here, and I was very impressed with the work that they are doing in terms of pushing back the 0 day and making sure that they campaign amongst our people to conserve water, to stop the leaks, and to make sure that we do add to the resources of water in this metro here. The steps that are being taken are quite impactful, and I do believe that we will continue to push back day 0 up to the point where we will no longer really need to talk about water shortage here. Of course, the drought that has persisted for 7 years has just made things worse, and the climate change is having an adverse effect also here in this province. And government is therefore taking steps at all levels to address these challenges. So it's been wonderful to be with our people here, and I look forward to coming back, Mayor, to be with you again, and Premier and Minister. Thank you very much.
All right, President. Thank you very much. We'll start with eNCA. Question?
Yes, President, thank you so much. Lindo Kuhle from eNCA. Perhaps, President, if you can just give us a sense, we are seeing interventions here. They are in fact reactive to the situation, but are we undertaking any proactive interventions to guard against the issue of climate change? We've been told that it's only going to get worse from now here. And also you visited the Standerton there in ESCOM. Perhaps in terms of what you've observed there, and are the plans in place? Is there a family meeting that we can expect around the energy crisis? Perhaps some of the interventions you want to put there.
Should I respond to that or take another one? There's lots of questions.
We can take this one.
Yes, South Africa as a nation, we are very alive to the climate change challenge. We know that it's no longer a fable or a theory out there. It's a reality. We have as a nation to respond to climate change challenges. We see them. On the eastern seaboard of our country in KZN and the eastern part of the Eastern Cape, we have floods, and floods that have really devastated the lives of our people, the infrastructure, and the economy. On the western side, we're seeing drought that we haven't seen in decades and decades and decades. So climate change is here, and as a country, we have made certain commitments at a global level that we are going to address climate change, and we've got a full program, we've got a framework, and we are addressing it at a number of levels. Firstly, in terms of energy, because climate change is actually caused by the emissions, the climate damage that has been done by emissions, but largely emissions that have been caused by northern economy countries, and we are now getting the consequences here. So we have, however, to address the issue of our own emissions and bring emissions down so that the temperatures can also come down. We also have to address climate change in terms of infrastructure, the infrastructure that we put in place, but we also have to address it in terms of water resources. The water resources in our country, being a drought-stricken country or a country that is challenged when it comes to water, we've got to conserve our water and make sure that we have water resources, because water is life. So we are not being reactive, we are also being proactive on a number of fronts. And we are doing a lot of initiatives, and we set up the Presidential Climate Change Commission that is doing a lot of work. And the work that they are doing is quite impressive, because they are working with NGOs that are involved in climate issues, emissions issues, and we are building a consensus that is going to enable us to be able to manage our climate change migration. And we're also talking about where we've got to have a just transition. For instance, in the province of Mpumalanga, which generates the electricity that we have, we're also facing a huge challenge of emissions that cause diseases. We're also facing a challenge of some of our coal mines having to close down, and we therefore need to have a just transition. That is going to be people-focused. That is going to look after the interests of working people, communities, and all the businesses in the area. So a lot is being done, and we are one of those countries on the continent that is leading the climate change debate. And you will have seen that even in Glasgow, our own country was in the forefront. That is how the more developed economies responded, by making a financial package available of $8.3 billion, which we can tap into to address the climate transition that we have to embark on. So we are doing a lot in that front.
Energy crisis, President, are we expecting?
The energy crisis, we continue to address it. I've had long meetings with the executives of Eskom, with the managers of power stations, and I continue to have meetings with our own departments that deal with energy, minerals and energy, Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Energy, Finance, and a whole range of others, and Department of Public Enterprises. So those meetings are ongoing. At the right time, we will be able to say something, and it will be soon.
Thank you. Lerato, you're done. SABC is happy. I think we're done.
Thank you very much.
There was this gentleman who had a question.
Thanks,
Mr. President. You've mentioned climate change and the drought, but with the crisis that we're in, has there been an element of management or lack of management, poor management? What's your assessment?
Well, the crisis that we are going through now has been caused by a number of factors, and you can never really pinpoint one and say this is what is causing this crisis. It's a multiplicity of factors, of missed opportunities or missed actions, and we are going to be addressing that. And as I said, soon we will have something to say to address the full spectrum of what we are dealing with and how we believe we can deal with it going forward, working together with our various people. I'm going to be meeting people in business, I'm going to be meeting the trade unions, and I'm going to be meeting a whole lot of organizations as well, so that we bring about an understanding of how we should move forward. So work is being done, and this time round we will make sure that we do it as comprehensively as we possibly can.
Mandela Day.
Mandela Day, perhaps, President, when, at a time when people think the moral fabric of the country is decaying, perhaps what should we be reminded about today?
Well, today is a very special day in our annual calendar, where we remember the father of our democracy and nation, Nelson Mandela, and where we should remember him in terms of the values that he stood for, and in terms of the work that he did for the vulnerable, for the majority of our people. And this is a day when we need to rededicate ourselves to the values that Nelson Mandela stood for. This is when we need to internalize the type of works that he did and rededicate ourselves to working for a South Africa that Nelson Mandela wanted to see. And that means that we've got to do a whole lot of things properly. Yes, we are currently engulfed by a number of challenges. Some of them are security related, and the police are now taking action against a number of pockets of people who are doing wrong things, be it at Eskom, be it in killing people at taverns. All that is now being attended to quite strongly and firmly. And we can say to South Africans that the things that are happening now that are causing people anger, that are causing people anxiety, are going to be addressed, and they are being addressed as we speak now. From energy to criminality to disorder, all those matters are being addressed, and I hope we will be able to restore, yes, the fabric of this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
You want me to help you go up?
I'll just get on.
You want me to help you go up? Let me help you. Come.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Well, President Matamela Ramaphosa ending some of his remarks to the media there. That was following his visit in a part of Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. He spent quite some time there answering some questions around climate change, around energy challenges, and of course that Nelson Mandela Bay municipality trying to do everything it can to avoid a day zero. There's also the issue of water pollution that the president also addressed there. Lindo Gutukulu on the ground there. We'll catch up with him a little bit later this afternoon here on Today, just as that visit by the president and other government ministers like Senzo Mkhunu, who is the Minister of Water and Sanitation, and Oscar Mabuyane, the Premier of the Eastern Cape, as they go up and about today here on Mandela Day.